Okay, welcome back, y'all. It's your boy G alongside Alec Foster from the episode 6300. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for the love you've been showing us online. You guys have really been tuning into our things. We really appreciate it. For the new viewers, make sure you subscribe to the show here and follow us on IG, Section300, on Twitter, Section300 Pod. And we've been talking NFL things lately. That's probably how you found out about it. If you've seen our NFL videos we're talking about lately. We got more on the way, no doubt. The season's still going on, so we're definitely not ignoring that. But we also have the NBA season starting up soon. And before that season gets started, we want to make sure we make our predictions for how we see things going down. So we're getting ready to do that. And alongside and with that as well, also just sharing our thoughts regarding just teams to watch, players to watch, and all of that as well. And that's actually where we're going to start. So, Alec, you want to get started with our NBA? Your teams you're going to be having close eyes on this season.
Sure. Do you want to go through the full list each, or do you want to go?
Well, how many do you have? How many teams do you have? Because we didn't pick a number. We kind of just said pick a number of teams that you have.
You had on there 5, so I had 5, okay. But I also had honorable mentions as well too.
Okay. I put a couple of lists together just in case we're the same team. So I'll let you start, and then if you have the same ones, I'll add on to it.
All right. Well, okay. This wasn't really in any particular order, but So first I got the Atlanta Hawks. I think they made a lot of great offseason moves. Travis Schlenk, I believe, is the GM. He brought in a lot of guys who are hungry and can help Trey on the defensive side as well too. And Chris Dunn and Rondo and then brought in some offensive firepower with Gallinari and Bogdanovich. So I'm interested to see how all those pieces mesh. I don't think it's going to be perfect. I think they're going to go through their lumps, but I think they'll be a fun team to watch and definitely much improved from last year.
Yeah, we're going back and forth on that.
Oh, sure. You can.
Yeah, let's do that. So I had the Hawks as well, so I won't address them. But another team I had that everyone seems to have their eyes on is the Brooklyn Nets. I'm someone who I mentioned I've been fans of them for a little while now since D'Lo got there, and have stuck with them now as they added KD and Kyrie down to their roster. So I'm really intrigued with how they're going to handle things this year. Really intrigued to see how KD bounces back and who's going to be back to MVP, top player in the world status and all of that. I'm very interested to see how it all goes down. Also, having Steve Nash at the helm over there is going to be we're praying for him. We already got Kyrie saging down arenas and things, so he already on his stuff. So hopefully Steve's able to have things under control, or at least do his best to do his version, kind of like Steve Kerr, like did in the Warriors. Just keep them under control and let those guys do their thing. So I'm very intrigued by them. I think they could shake things up a lot in the East, where we have visions of the Bucks and the Celtics trying to get back into the finals, excuse me, and the Nets definitely could come and shake that up. So the Nets are a team I definitely have eyes on.
Yeah, the Nets are one of my honorable mentions because they were one of the more obvious teams to me that people are going to be paying attention to with all the narratives around them and Kyrie and the media circus that surrounds him as well. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on how the Nets are going to fare this season. I think regardless of what happens off the court, they're still going to be a good team.
Definitely.
But yeah, definitely a team to watch for sure. My second team I got on here is the Phoenix Suns. I think the addition of Chris Paul changes the complexion of that team a lot. I think he significantly improves DeAndre Ayton's game, as well as gets a lot more easy looks for Devin Booker. And I think that team has a shot potentially to be in playoff contention with his veteran leadership, and a couple other guys they brought in with Jay Crowder as well, who played for that Miami Heat finals team. A couple other veterans they brought in to solidify that squad, and I like Monty Williams and how he had them playing in the bubble with that 8-0 run that they had still to make the playoffs, but they beat everyone who was in front of them, so that was commendable. So I like that roster they have to put together for this season, and I think they could be an intriguing team in the West.
Got you. And kind of piggybacking off of that, another team I think is going to be intriguing in the West is the Warriors this year. They're bouncing back, trying to get things right. Even without Klay Thompson there, I think Steph is going to put on a show for us alongside the guys that they put around him with Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond now back trying to get things going again, and James Wiseman, who they drafted first overall, early on in the draft this year. So, I'm very, very intrigued by this team. I think that they could do better than expected. People are thinking they're going to be kind of middle or bottom of the West with Klay Thompson still being out and them still having some struggles with their depth. But I think that they could do better than expected. I think Steph is back and hopefully is back to MVP form, and I think he shows that. And they make a nice push this year. So the Warriors, our team, definitely have eyes on.
For sure. I think Steph's going to have a little bit of a resurgence coming off that injury. My third team I have on here is the Pelicans. We know, if you've listened to the pod before, you know I'm a strong supporter of them. My baby Lakers over there. I'm very interested to see a full season of Zion with the training wheels off and allowing him to go to work.
Now too.
What do you say?
He stopped eating the beignets and stuff. He stopped. He looked good.
A little slimmer, a little closer to his Duke physique, but regardless, he's going to jump over everybody and go through everybody. So if he's able to manage that, it's a scary sight for a lot of opposing teams. I think Brandon Ingram has the potential to improve even more. I don't think he's reached his ceiling yet, even with the All-Star season he had last year. I think Lonzo already has a great chemistry with Zion, so having a full year of Zion is going to be great for Lonzo as well. They brought in Bledsoe. They brought in Steven Adams to shore up that center position. They might struggle a little bit shooting. They still got J.J. Redick and Josh Hart and a couple other guys, but that might be one of their weaker points. But I think they're going to be a very competitive team, and I love Stan Van Gundy at the head coaching spot. I think he's going to provide the structure they need and also push them, especially defensively, where they didn't really pay a lot of close attention to detail on that end last year. So I think the Pelicans are going to be a fun team to watch this season.
Definitely. I got eyes on them too. I like that squad over there. So you mentioned them and the baby Lakers there. Someone else that was part of that baby Lakers squad was D'Angelo Russell, who I mentioned, who was once on the Nets as well. And he's now in Minnesota alongside Karl Anthony Towns. And that Timberwolves squad, the team I definitely have eyes on this year. They may not be one of the top dogs this year or anything like that. They got a long ways to go. People prefer compared to the rest of the West, but just a team that I'm going to have eyes on and has a lot of potential to do big things. I think that they have something brewing over there in Minnesota. I like that trio of D'Angelo, Anthony Edwards now, and Karl Anthony Towns. So really rooting for them. Also, Karl Anthony Towns, with all he's gone through in the last year, definitely going to be rooting for him. Hopefully he has a great season. He has lost, I guess, like 6-7 people to do the COVID and all of that, including his mother. So hopefully he's able to put some of that pain onto the court, I guess, or release some kind of way and have a positive season. So, definitely rooting for them out in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do because I believe they brought back Ricky Rubio as well too. So kind of a little bit of a crowded backcourt, and you want Anthony Edwards to get opportunity to show what he's got too. So it'll be interesting to see. Definitely worth taking a look at this season. My fourth team I got on here is the Wizards, with the addition of Russell Westbrook alongside Bradley Beal, alongside their number 9 pick and Denny is like Avdija.
I think I don't know.
I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it exactly, but I like his potential as well too. Their bench could use a little bit of work, but I think the 5, 6, 7 guys that they can have in rotation are going to be competitive this year. I like Mo Wagner. I like Thomas Bryant. I like Rui Bertans, who just signed a new deal as well. So I like the pieces that they have around Russ and around Bradley Beal, and I like them to be very competitive this season and definitely intriguing because of the blockbuster deal that was made with Russ going there and John Wall going to the Rockets. So definitely a team to keep an eye on.
Got you. They were a team I had eyes on as well. Definitely rooting for Russ there out in Washington. So it's definitely going to be fun. On the flip side, a team that had a trade that went down and then it didn't happen, and then other things went down is the Kings, but they traded Bogdan to Milwaukee, and then it fell through, and then he went to the Hawks, and all of that got all kind of jumbled there. as someone that, as you guys have watched here, I mentioned the Kings a few times over here. I got a lot of family out there in Sacramento, so I always have eyes on them as well, and definitely rooting for a good turnaround for them. So they've been at the bottom of the West for a long while now, and it's still coming back up. But I think the nucleus they have now of De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley and Tyrese Halliburton, who they just drafted, could give them some hope and move them in the right direction. So hopefully Luke Walton, who was another one of our Laker guys, gets them right. I already seen some things that it makes you kind of scratch my head, whatever. But I'm still having hope in them that they're going to do a big thing. So De'Aaron also just got paid this offseason also. So hopefully he uses that as motivation to really take off this year. So definitely excited for what's going on in Sacramento.
For sure. I know you always paying attention to those 11 seed Kings. So.
Yeah.
My last team to round out my 5, I got the team that was on the opposite end of the Wizards trade, the Houston Rockets. Mm-hmm. I think regardless of whether they trade Harden, who right now you got Dennis Rodman on your shirt. He's like the apparently the Dennis Rodman of the current NBA with how he's been moving over there in Houston. Regardless if they trade Harden or not, because if they do trade Harden, you're going to have to get a valuable piece back for it, whether it's Ben Simmons or someone else. So regardless of who they get or if they keep Harden, I think they're going to be a really intriguing team, to say the least, in the West. Boogie coming off injury looked pretty good in the preseason, and if he can stay healthy, that's a great piece to have. At very cheap, they were able to sign him. They signed Christian Wood, who also I love too. He's kind of an unsung guy in the league.
Yep.
At the power forward spot, and then obviously got John Wall coming off the Achilles injury, looking like he hasn't missed a step at all so far.
You guys bouncing back from that injury that have been impressive so far. So we're turning a new leaf on how guys are bouncing back from that.
Yeah, hopefully that's a good time for KD as well too. He's able to come back close to what he was before the injury. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be intrigued to see what the Rockets do if they do make a trade, and if they don't, how they fare in the West. I think they have a lot of firepower at this moment. So.
I definitely have eyes there. Definitely excited for what's going on in Houston. We mentioned before a long while ago, we talked about favorite players. Boogie and John Wall were two of my favorites.
Former teammates too.
Yeah. Now our teammates again, and I'm excited for what's going on there. So yeah, they definitely are teammates that I have eyes on. Lastly, for my teams, I went the opposite route. So we went to a lot of teams that may have positives or are on the rise, possibly. This last team is a team on the complete opposite end. Okay. And that's the Thunder. They got all these draft picks in the offseason. They traded away down there everybody. They have Al Horford now. They had Danny Green for a second and traded him away.
Paul ain't walking through that door.
All they got now is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lukas Dort, who had a nice little playoff run, and Derek Favors, who they drafted last year, I believe, as well. Also,
right.
They have a couple of young guys that they're building around and just trying to create that nucleus going forward alongside all 35 of those picks that we're going to have throughout the next couple of years. So just seeing if they are as bad as it seems, or if the additions of Al Horford, who's there, and a couple other guys who are still on the roster can make them entertaining in any kind of way. So we shall see. But them being on the complete opposite end, from the nice run they've had the last decade, starting from Katie, Russ, and Harden, and then I had how transitioned Paul George and Russ and all that kind of stuff. Now you have Shea here, and they had a nice run in the playoffs last year. Almost beat the Rockets, but now they're here and just on a complete reset. So
Dennis Schroeder and Steven Adams and Chris Paul, they're not walking through that door.
I should have looked. I don't know who walks through that door right now. Like I said, they got a few young guys and Horford, and then outside of that, I don't know. So we shall see, man.
We talked about it pre-show. Looking at that roster, it does not look good. It looks like Presti is stacking his chips for the future.
Imani Baker's on the way. Brian's on the way.
You're going to see LeBron in a Thunder jersey?
I guess so. That'd be crazy. So, yeah, that's the last team that I definitely had eyes on. Is anybody else you want to mention real quick?
You mentioned the Nets. That was one of my honorary ones. And then Lakers are an obvious one.
I didn't want to do too obvious. Yeah,
defending their title. I think everyone is going to be paying attention.
Of course.
And then the Clippers are kind of an obvious one too. But I did want to mention them just because of the statements Paul George has made in the offseason. about getting back to his MVP season where he never actually won the MVP award.
And Kawhi won't respond, but he'll be on Jimmy Kimmel, which is confusing. Like,
which was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But I'm like, we've heard 10 words from you all offseason. Right. Kimmel just laughing it up. Like, bro, we want to hear from you. So hopefully he answers on the court with his play. So
right. So very interested to see how Ty Lue has those guys playing this year. Interested to see how Ibaka fits there, if that maybe shifts the culture a little bit, because they clearly had like a team chemistry issue and maybe weren't all focused on a common goal. They had some issues in the locker room. So
Kawhi and Serge already got it done once. Maybe they do it again in LA. So we'll see.
Exactly. So interested to see how that goes. I think they for sure should be a playoff team, but then you got playoff P, and what are you getting when it's the playoffs? So
yeah, I think I'm intrigued by that. I've mentioned PG's my guy still, even through all the stuff he's been through the last few years. And yeah, hopefully he can turn things around at least a little bit and go at least face the Lakers, so we could beat them in the conference finals. So we'll see if that happens this year. The last thing I actually want to mention, since we kind of adding in honorable mentions, is the Knicks. And that's kind of surprising because they have a whole lot kind of in a similar area as the Thunder, just kind of in that rebuild mode still. But they have a couple of young pieces that they added. RJ Barrett last year, Mitchell Robinson, who's still finding his spot on that team. And also they drafted Obi Toppin this year, who looks like very promising, and Emmanuel Quickly, who's gaining a lot of attention as well. So if these guys can step up and finally turn things around in New York, they may finally have something. It may not compete with the Nets no time soon, but years down the line, the Knicks finally may have a team that they could really champion. So yeah, a lot of teams all over the place, as you can hear from us.
Yeah, I'm very scared of New York rappers flipping the Obi Toppin for a bar.
Obi Toppin, yeah, that team is full of name flips. So we gotta be careful with that one. But yeah, I'm excited for it, dog. Definitely, you guys should definitely keep your eyes on all those teams that we mentioned. So also let us know what teams you got your eyes on. Obviously, we kind of skipped over the obvious ones, but if there's other teams kind of in the middle of the pack that you guys think we should have eyes on too, let us know. So yeah, those are our teams to watch this NBA season.